The Outback's a rugged, raw, harsh landscape in some perceptions, but it's also sensitive and susceptible and vulnerable. Of the pervasive problems that the Outback faces, it's things like changed fire regimes, it's things like feral animals, weeds, that are affecting environments across much of the Outback and are relatively uncontrolled at the moment. Many of the threats are escalating. That will mean that we lose parts of the biodiversity of the place. So the whole Outback system will gradually erode, and those things that make the place special will not be special anymore. And the Outback will lose its sense of spirit and identity and importance. There aren't all that many places in the world that still are largely natural. It's really important for the world's health, I think, that there are these large areas of nature. It gives the world a chance to breathe, it gives ecology a place to function, it gives some security for a whole range of plant and animal species that simply won't be there in most other parts of the world. So it's of global significance.
The Outback's one of the great natural places remaining on Earth. But as Australians, I think we often see it as a bit of mythology, a bit of, somewhere out there in the never. It's never quite a real piece of dirt. But the Outback is a real piece of rock, soil, water, place. It's more than 70% of Australia, and it's the arid heart of Australia, the dry country of the centre and the west. So it is red rock and sand, but it's also rainforests, great green rolling plains, extraordinary wildlife, and people. The Outback is fundamentally about people as well as country.
My name's Pebera. I'm the head ranger for the Barry Rangers. I live in the top end of the Dampier Peninsula. I'm on Barry country. My people are saltwater people. We live right on the coast. You'll never see more happier people being on country. Our connection to country, we've been here for thousands of years, and this is the only place you want to be. It's your home.
One of the fundamental challenges the Outback has is maintaining people and communities economically, socially and environmentally in the Outback. So a key thing is about how do we get people and support them and maintain them with viable jobs, viable local economies. That's crucial.
The Kimberley Ranger Program, or the Barry Rangers, we're actually environmental rangers. So our day in the life of ranger could do many things that revolves around the environment. So, whether it's eradicating weeds, protecting the monsoonal vine thickets, working along the beach and trying to protect the beaches, and checking for foreign debris, beach cleanups, all that sort of stuff like that.
One outstanding success, which is still not very well known, is the development and support and success of Indigenous ranges and Indigenous protected areas. These are parks on Aboriginal owned land. And Indigenous ranges, Aboriginal ranges, are on country doing work that looks after the environment on behalf of all Australians. Doing hard jobs in often very remote places. But of course for them, it's home. And the advantage for local communities is you have real jobs that work for local people that help sustain those communities in the long term. And that's an extraordinary win-win.
Yes, I took over 7 years ago now. It was a big step, I guess, because there's certainly a lot of challenges out here, but I'm really keen on trying to regenerate the countryside and try and find a way to sustainably run cattle out here. We have a tourism business which was started by my mum and dad in 1993. So that for the most part is what keeps us going. We do still have to run some cattle, even though the country is not really ready for it. We have to run some cattle in order to survive, essentially. But ideally, we'd be entirely tourism.
To sustain a tourism business in the West Australian Outback at the moment, I think significant changes need to take place in the way that the lease arrangement is organised, just because it's purely a pastoral lease, whereas there is opportunity out here to have other industries and enterprises. So they need to change it purely from a pastoral lease and start looking at other options that the land could be used for.
If the government did facilitate tenure reform, then that would mean other things were allowed to be done out here, and that would attract investment from outside for a whole myriad of different things. There are lots of things that people would like to try out here, but they're not going to invest money in there unless it's legal for them to actually try those things. And you know, with new money coming in, new people coming in, that's exactly what this region needs.
The future of the Outback is important, so we need people to manage that landscape, and it's got to be done in a way which is broad scale and long term and collaborative. The Outback offers us the greatest opportunity that we have to maintain the intactness, the spirit of our nation, and we must take that opportunity. We must look after the Outback. We mustn't treat it as a neglected backyard. We must see it as part of the most important core, the heart of our continent and of our nation. And we can't neglect it, we can't forget about it, we can't take it for granted. It's really important that we now look after, value and look after the inland Australia, the Outback.